Greetings comic book fans, I'm Jason and welcome to my comic book reviews for the first week of February 2015. This week 19 books which really broke down. I think it was 5 from DC, 4 from Marvel and the rest were all independent books. So this week I'm going to change things up a little bit and we're going to start out, I'm going to review the independent books, then we're going to go through DC and finally we'll finish off the video reviewing the books from Marvel. So without further ado, let's get to those reviews. So we're going to kick off into independent reviews with Image this week, and a book from last week. It is The Dying and the Dead, issue number 1. I remember when I worked at a nursing home, the old folks every day used to watch this American soap on Channel 5 called The Young and the Restless. And when I first heard the title for this, The Dying and the Dead, it made me think like of that show, and kind of made me wonder, like, is this like a new depressing American soap opera? Maybe it's set in a funeral home or something. The Dying and the Dead coming to HBO this spring. But it's funny I should mention like a TV show, because this does kind of read like a pilot episode. The story starts off with an artifact being stolen by these mysterious people that all look the same. We then meet this character called the Colonel, whose wife is dying of cancer, and he gets invited to this mysterious city by these otherworldly beings, and this character called the Bishop gives him this offer that they can save his wife if he will recover this artifact that we saw stolen at the beginning of the book. And the Colonel has to make the choice, and he's given the advice by the Bishop, if I was you, I wouldn't take this deal. So what way is the Colonel going to go? So yeah, that's basically the bones of the book, without kind of giving everything away. The first thing I gotta say is, once again, Image. What fantastic value. I always equate, I don't know if I mentioned this in my haul video, but Marvel are very much like that rude person who's like, give me your money now, and they snatch the money off you because they're so eager to get your money. And where Image, they're much more, they'll say please and thank you before gently taking your money from you. That is how I equate their approach to taking our money. And once again here, we get, like, for $4.50, which works out as £3.75, you get over 60 pages. No adverts, no previews, which are basically adverts as well. No, just a whole story. And the book, it really helps, because I think if you'd have cut some out of this, I don't think it would have been as good. I think the story flows nicely. It gives Jonathan Hickman the room to be able to kind of lay everything out. And for Jonathan Hickman, it's quite a straightforward story. Yeah, there's a lot of mystery in here that we don't know yet, but basically it's very easy to follow, and probably the most accessible Jonathan Hickman book I've ever read. The other thing with Hickman is he must really be very hands-on with every aspect of this book, because color-wise, you can see color-wise and the layouts, it's very stylized, as all his books are. So you've got to think with Hickman, I think every step of the way he's got to be involved in giving input into how he wants the book to look and to feel. The art in here, some people don't like the art. I've seen reviews and people say like the characters look a bit flat, which, you know, maybe, but I just really love the usage of color. And there's a particular scene, there's some real great double page spreads in here. When he gets to the city, I'm trying to find here we are. This city, this is just tremendous double page here. Really like that, and some great art. And also the beginning, I love how it's laid out. How you've got like the opening credits written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Ryan Bodenheim, you know, and then you open up and it's got The Dying and the Dead, very much like an opening credit sequence. So I liked the whole layout again, and this is pure Hickman. Oh god, I'm lost my place in my notes, I'm sorry. I like the names as well, having people called the Colonel or the Bishop, really easy to remember names. They do give us the Colonel's full name, but just the name the Colonel really stuck with me, so I liked that as well. All in all, yeah, this was a really great start. If you've ever wanted to get into a Hickman book, this is probably the most accessible book and the best opportunity you're going to have. And I give The Dying and the Dead, issue number 1, 5 stars out of 5, and I'll be adding this to my pull list. So next up, now we're on to this week's books, and first up from Image, one of the books I was really looking forward to once I realised it was coming out this week. It is Saga, issue number 25. I always say when I read this, I go into my Saga bubble, because like the rest of the world just disappears, and I'm like, I can't be disturbed. I think a nuclear explosion could go off, and I would still be sitting there reading Saga, and like it'd finish, and I'd pop my head up and go, where did everybody go? Yeah, because like I just so absorbed with the story, and once again, where we left off, it's just great all over again. Basically, we're following like the characters have kind of branched off into their own stories now. We've got Denga. Is it Denga? He's captured baby Hazel and Prince Robot 4's child, and he's got something in mind. Meanwhile, Alana and her mother-in-law are trying to kind of figure out a way that they can stop him and get Hazel back. We've then got Marco, who's reluctantly had to team up with Prince Robot 4 and Gus as they're searching for their children. And then we also have Gwendolyn, who's teamed up to go and try and find a cure for the will. So like you've got a lot going on. Each story is action-packed and moves along tremendously. The dialogue between the characters is great. The art once again reminds us how great Fiona Staples is. There's this one scene where there's like this kind of like flashback of how all these different races began fighting this war for our two main races in the book. And there's one scene in a disco, and just the motion of the dancing, you can totally get the dance move, and you can just imagine that character dancing. It looks like a photograph still image of how they've captured that. It's just tremendous, and the expression she gets on the character, the amount of emotion she gives is brilliant. And Gus, oh god, how adorable is Gus. Please, please, please do not let nothing terrible happen to Gus, because he's just so adorable. He's instantly become my favourite character, and if he was real, I would definitely adopt him. But yeah, it's really great, and it's just brilliant to have it back again. And I give Saga issue number 25 5 stars out of 5. So moving right along now to Birthright issue number 5, and once again a really great issue. Mikey and his brother Brennan and their dad have tracked down this wizard, so Mikey's fighting this wizard. We get like nice little teases in here, as like the wizard kind of knows that Mikey's been under the spell of this Nevermind, so he's kind of like he's trying to like help him, but like the diggle bits of dialogue are kind of like when his brother's not there, and so it's really cool how they tease like is Brennan gonna find out about Mikey or isn't he? So that's really good, and by the end of the issue that took some nice twists and turns. The art, I don't think I speak enough about for this book, because it's just tremendous art. It's just, you know, there are so many great and stunning pages. This issue is a bit brutal, because like they really throw down. But yeah, the art in here is just outstanding, and I don't think I speak enough about that, as I've said before. We get deeper and deeper into this story, a great reveal at the end. For the first time they mention Birthright, so we know why the book's called Birthright, and we get a bit of that. And yeah, and we also get a little different spin on Mikey, where I kind of was wondering, is he under something spell, but it seems like he's willingly given himself here, or at least it seems that way. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this is going to go. This is the end of the first arc, I believe, so I think they should be having the trade coming out soon. But yeah, definitely one worth looking for. It's so unlike anything. It's got familiar fantasy elements, but then the whole family element gives the book a totally different feel to anything out there. And I give Birthright issue number 5 stars out of 5. So moving right along, but sticking with Image, next up we have Wyches issue number 4. Once again, the story I really enjoyed, and it is really... It's a book that when you're reading it, you're really on the edge of your seat, and it definitely has that horror vibe to it. I like the structure of the story, how parts of the story were kind of broken up with this flashback to this big wheel, and I liked how that kind of intersected the story, and how each part of the story helped each other, so that was really cool. I did feel the colouring of the book really hurts, because there's these kind of, I don't know how well it can show on here, but there's these kind of splotches color wise, and there are some scenes like this scene where she wakes up in the tree, that where it works because she's disorientated, and it kind of throws in to the reader how disorientated she is, where is she and what is she. But then there's other scenes where I feel it hurts the story, that it makes it more difficult to kind of really get what's happening, and I think hurts the story. So I wish they'd tone back on that. Some scenes, like I say, it works, but for the whole book you don't need it. You just don't need it, and it did hurt. I felt did hurt the story. I like we start getting answers. It is a truly scary book, and the twist at the end, it was a very horror movie kind of vibe. With the twist and how it came, I'm just really enjoying the book. Hopefully the tone down the effects they're doing with the colouring, but otherwise I'm really enjoying this book, and I give Wyches issue number 4 stars out of 5. So moving right along now to Nameless issue number 1. The first half of this book totally lost me. We have this character called Nameless, and he's got no name because names give people power. So if he's got no name, nobody's got no power over him. So he's got to get this key, and he's got to go into this dream world. So there's bits at the beginning of the book where you don't know, is he in the dream or is he in the real world, and it's all a bit confusing at the beginning. When we get to the halfway point where he gets saved by the people who have hired him to get this key, and we get into the main chunk of the story, which revolves around this asteroid this meteor that's gonna hit the Earth, and that's got this mystical symbol on, and they need his help as part of the team because of he deals with like magic and mystical stuff. That second half of the story I got a lot more into and enjoyed a lot more. The art throughout is tremendous, but I think this is one I'm going to pass on. I just, because the half of the book for me just lost me. At the moment money's a bit tight, and yeah, if I'm working by March I might try out the second issue, but right now I'm going to give it a miss. But yeah, it was a decent first issue. I think the art was really strong. I like that. But otherwise, yeah, middle of the road for me, and I'd give this book, the art would just lift it up and give it a 4 stars out of 5. So moving on to Boom Studios now, we have Robocop issue number 8. This issue kind of culminates the main story we've been following for this like really first arc with Killian and the whole gun smuggling thing, as that all comes to a head this issue. I liked the whole thing. The victory is a bit bittersweet, that they managed to stop Killian and take things down, but there are casualties in this being done, and Lewis kind of learns why there's a system and a way of doing things, and that going outside this system, what happens, and you know, it's not always a total victory. This world that they've created in the book totally has the feel of the first film, the original film, and that's really great. It's definitely not one for kids with the language and the violence, but for fans of that original movie, it definitely captures that magic and that feel brilliantly. I like also that the cast, it isn't just centers on Robocop. Like Anne Lewis, his partner, is just as big a part of this story, and all the other characters as well. There's a really good cast that they're building up in this book, and I'm really liking that it's not just focusing solely on Robocop. All in all, I really enjoyed this. Definitely a book worth checking out if you're a fan of the film, and I give Robocop issue number 8 5 stars out of 5. So we're moving right along now to The Bunker issue number 9. This story is just really compelling, and there's always so many shocking turns you just don't see coming, but just seem to work, and that seems to be a real strength of Fialkov's writing. These twists that make sense, but you just don't see coming. The art as well, I think, is really great and works well for the book, and I really like how the story's developing, and each issue so much development happens, and I'm definitely interested where it's going to go. This is the end of the second arc, so they're going to be bringing out the second trade soon. So if you haven't been reading this book, give it a whirl. It's a really good story. If you want something different, if you like alternate kind of depressing futures and time travel, and you want something different from your superhero book, but you want a story that's still a compelling read, this is definitely one worth checking out. And I give The Bunker issue number 9 5 stars out of 5. So moving on now to Valiant, and we have issue number 33 of Exo Manowar. 2 weeks and we get 2 issues of Exo Manowar, so that's always cool. This is very much a prologue to the next big story, Dead Hand, and it is very much, it very much is the setup to that. It has a nice callback to the first issue and the first story, as we get to see more of Arik and his love Deirdre, so that was really cool. I don't know how much it would resonate if you was new to the book. While I think it is a good jumping on point it's the start of a story, I think, and you'd get the gist of what's happening, but I don't think you'd get the importance of the character of Deirdre unless you went back and read the first trade or the first issue. I think then you'd understand a lot more. I'm pretty sure that we've got a different artist this issue, but they still do a really good job. Like I say, probably is a good place to jump on. I enjoyed it. The thing I found difficult rating this book though is it doesn't feel like a 5-star book. There's nothing wrong with it, but it just lacks something that would make it a 5-star book. But there's nothing negative about it, so I can't give it 4 stars. So it'd be one of those books, if I did half stars, it would be 4.5 stars. But as I don't do half stars, I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. Next up, we have Imperium, issue number 1. This book was brilliant. Really enjoyed this. It's a great start to the series and sets up the story really well. Introduces all the characters and the world that they're fighting for, and the vision that they've got is really a unique way of showing us what their aim is, and I really like that. Roller Rada is probably the main character in the book. My favourite character, the star of the show, was Mech Warrior. Mech Major, or as he likes to be called, Sunlight and Snow. He's the star of this issue for me, and I'm looking forward to see more of him. I really like the whole concept of the book, and the characters are a very much shade of grey in that their aims and their motives are pure, but the things they're going to have to do to achieve those aims aren't going to be so pure. And I like that kind of like good people doing bad things for good reasons. I think makes for a lot of interesting characters. Really strong first issue, and I give Imperium issue number 1 5 stars out of 5. Next up, we have Howboy in the BPRD 1952. Story's developing nicely, this one. I really liked the reveal of what the monsters are. I thought that was really nice, and I didn't see that coming. I was a bit confused with, there's a scene with Hellboy, that was a bit confusing, but maybe as the story goes on, that's going to make more sense. A lot of the story as well, and I don't know if it's because it was set in 1952, but there was a definitely retro feel to the book, which was a positive. All in all, I'm really enjoying Hellboy in the BPRD 1952, and I thought this was definitely a solid step, and the story's developing well and a solid step forward, and I'd give this issue number 3, I'd give 4 stars out of 5. So those are, we're done. Those are my independent books. I was going to do the next one, and I just realised it's a DC book. So yeah, those are my independent reviews, and let's get into those DC reviews now. So here we are now with our DC reviews, and as always, we're going to kick things off with our weekly books. Batman Eternal, issue number 44. Not so good this week. I like the art and the colouring of the book. Very uniquely done. You know, it's laid out nicely in parts, and I did like it. The way the book's coloured definitely reminded me of Daniel Acuna, who does Uncanny Avengers. Just the style that it was coloured in. But yeah, I liked the art overall. I didn't really like the story. Most of it follows Batman trying to capture this guy here, who's responsible for a lot of what happened in Arkham. So it's just the whole issue is just like one chase scene, really. We get a little bit with Harper and Stephanie Brown, and while I really like those two characters and I'm liking them together, the thing that's really perplexing me at the moment with Stephanie Brown is, hasn't she watched the news? Doesn't she know Bruce Wayne is now bankrupt? You know, so I did feel that was a bit. something I'd like to see addressed, and it made that story not ring quite true for me. But yeah, apart from the colour, there wasn't much else I liked about this issue, apart from the art and the colour. And this was definitely one of the weaker issues. I'm hoping things are going to pick up because we're getting to the end. So, but this issue was definitely a step backwards, and I'd give Batman Eternal issue 44 2 stars out of 5. So next up we have our other weekly, Future's End, issue 40, and boy oh boy, did this make up for the disappointment of Batman Eternal. This was awesome, great issue, a massive step forward. We have Brainiac's made it to Earth, he's attacking, he's targeted New York, and something strange is going on with what he's doing to New York, which is really cool. And it's everybody, all the stories are starting to come together. We get in all the characters we've been following are kind of all heading for New York, where Brainiac's attack is. So everything's coming together, which is really cool. And the pace for this issue was just constantly moving forward, 100 miles an hour. Really good. Also really enjoyed the art. There's some really great moments throughout the book with the various characters. There's one great scene towards the end with Brainiac, as we get to see Brainiac appearing, and then the last page, I'm going to spoil it, I don't usually spoil last page, but there's our last page, The Return of Superman. Brilliant stuff. I got to that page and I was disappointed there was no more left, because I just raced through this and really enjoyed it. A fantastic issue. If this is what is in store for the end of this story, it is going to be awesome. I give Future's End issue number 40 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have Green Arrow issue 39, my favourite superhero. How is he going to fare this week? And luckily the upswing continues and things are getting good again. I like the storyline developments in this issue. We've got Green Arrow being hunted by all of Seattle. We've got Felicity gets arrested. You know, Oliver Queen loses the last money that he's got, so he's like skinned. It's really good. Like, things are really grim at the moment for him, and he kind of makes the decision he's got to help, say, Felicity, who's been put in this special prison. He's got to get her out. So all in all, it was really good. It still has the vibe of the TV show very much, which is not surprising considering who the writers are. But not in a way before I felt it was in a negative way, where it was stifling the book. But this, it's got that, but it's still, it's in a positive way, this issue, with that. I like the art as well. I think the art is just improving issue to issue. One question I have about this character, the cheetah, is she naked? Because I couldn't decide. If it's her outfit, why have they let her keep it on when she's in prison? And if it's her skin, where are her nipples? So I couldn't decide if it was an outfit or if it was, you know, if it was a skin. So yeah, I was a bit confused by all of that. But yeah, the last page, oh boy, how exciting that last page was. I'm really enjoying this issue, and I'm enjoying the book again. That's 2 issues in a row that I've enjoyed, which is good. I still don't think we've reached the heights that we did Lemire, and maybe we never will. But if the book continues being like this, I'll be happy, because we've still got a good book. And I give Green Arrow issue number 39 4 stars out of 5. So moving right along now to Swamp Thing issue 39, the penultimate issue of the series, I believe. And like I've said before, while it's sad it's going, we're definitely going out with a bang. Swamp Thing was in a real bad state last issue, and really interested in this issue how he comes back from that brink. The whole issue is just a great journey, and the end, oh boy, I was just so stoked when I got to the end. I definitely geeked out, if you will. Lady Weed just kicks ass, and she's just such a great villain. I hope they don't totally eliminate her, because like I say, she is such a great villain, and she definitely kicks ass this issue. An incredibly exciting last page with the reveal, and it was brilliantly, like I say, the whole issue was a great journey, lovely art throughout. I'm really enjoying this book, really going to miss it when it finishes, but I'm enjoying it while it's here, and I give Swamp Thing issue number 39 5 stars out of 5. So our final DC book of the week is Batman 66, issue number 19. This was a funny kind of issue. I felt the main bulk of the book was a bit disappointing. They go up against this villain, Professor Marmaduke Fogg. They go up this villain here, and he's got this gang of girls, and Batman and Robin can't fight them because they're girls, so they end up getting captured. And plus he's also got a relative, his sister, Lady Penelope Pea Soup. So things end up bad for Batman and Robin, and they're going to unleash this fog on all of Gotham. And I liked how Batman solved the whole problem and how he saved the day. I thought that was really good. I liked the end. But for the bulk of it, I felt that Fog was a bit of a disappointing villain to give a whole issue to. And I just felt the bulk of the story wasn't as great. As always with Parker, I think there were some great moments. Again, Batman and Robin would not fight the girls that are in his gang, and they find a brilliant way around that. There were some great moments art-wise where you've got them like running, and there's a great moment where they're climbing up a wall. So Parker throws in all these familiar tropes from the TV show, and that's really good. And there are some funny moments, but I just didn't feel it as strong as the best issues have been. Though like I say, I did like how they deal with Fog in the end. So all in all, I think I'd give Batman 66 issue number 19 3 stars out of 5. So that's all my DC books. Now we're going to go to our final bit of the video as we review the books from Marvel. So to finish things off, we've got our books from Marvel. There's 4 books this week from Marvel, which is the smallest it's been for a while. I can't remember the last time I had this few Marvel books on my pull list. Probably it was like when I came back to comics in 2011. 'Cause back when I first came back to comics, I was just buying the New 52, and I gradually got back into Marvel, started buying more Marvel books. But yeah, since then I don't think my Marvel list has been this low. But anyway, let's get into these reviews, and we kick things off with Avengers issue number 41. This issue we pretty much get to see what happens to the Cabal. Did they get destroyed? Did Namor get killed and the whole of the Cabal get blown up when Black Panther and Black Bolt blew up that planet? We get to find out here what happened to them. We also get to see an incursion through the eyes of another world, as we get to find out what's been happening on the Ultimate Universe, and how they've been dealing with the incursions and who's kind of stepped forward for them. And we also get to see something developing in space that could have big ramifications in the future. All in all, I just really enjoyed this. I thought it was another really good issue. It was fun that Hickman picks up on story elements, and that's the thing about Hickman. He's so organised, he never leaves anything out, and I'm just really enjoying the journey right now. It's definitely not a book that you can just jump in on. I think you need to have read this from the beginning to enjoy it to the maximum. But I think if you did go back and start trade reading, I think it's worth the effort. The thing is, you do need to be reading this and New Avengers, as the 2 stories have kind of merged now, where beginning they were like separate. Now the story has kind of merged. I like the art and the use of colour in this, and it's no surprise it's a Hickman book, so colour is always very important in Hickman books, and how each scene kind of has its own colour scheme. I really like that. Again, another really great issue right now. This book's on a good run, and I give Avengers issue number 41 5 stars out of 5. So moving right on now to Hulk issue number 11. And Jerry Duggan just keeps doing it with this book. This is probably one of the most underrated books right now, because Duggan has just come on board and he's doing a fantastic job with it. It gives the story a real focus with Hulk now known as Doc Green, and he is trying to take out all the other Hulks. He's trying to cure them all, or but there's something nefarious to his reasoning as well, which we don't quite know yet. This issue takes a really unexpected turn that I just did not see coming, but it's kind of been there for a few issues. So I really liked how they had that develop and that turn into something. story's constantly moving forward, never rests, never takes a breath or kind of fills time. Every kind of panel is not wasted. So much happens in this issue, yet I'm still really excited to see where we're going to go next, as there's so many plot elements. I'm going to be very interested with all these elements kind of that Duggan has introduced, is if he manages to answer them all, because right now it's kind of like, are we going to go back to that, because the story's moved on, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there, because I'm quite new to reading like Duggan. I'm reading Nova and I'm reading this, but I'm still quite new to Duggan. But yeah, this book has just been brilliant. He's doing a great job. Another great issue, and I give Hulk issue number 11 5 stars out of 5. So next up we have The Punisher issue number 15. Things were looking grim last issue for Frank as he got captured by the Howling Commandos. Los Angeles is getting destroyed by the Dos Souls and the big gang war, and you know, so things were looking pretty grim. This issue we get to see a different side to the Howling Commandos as a real, as they suddenly become quite interesting and become, you know, proper fleshed out characters. So that was really cool. I would like to have seen a little bit more of the motivation for Sidewinder's actions. So that I would like to see that, because his character, it does seem somewhat in this issue a bit inconsistent with what we've seen from the past. So I'm hoping in future issues we kind of get a little bit more elaboration on what's happening. Frank Castle is not out yet, and I really like the character, and I'm really interested to see where he's going to go. Is he going to deal with Los Angeles first, or as it looks like he's going to head straight for the guy who's kind of put the money down to have him taken out? But yeah, this book's still really good. Even if, like I say, some of the characters are a bit inconsistent, hopefully that gets cleared up in future issues. I give The Punisher issue number 15 4 stars out of 5. So my final book of the week, and it's no surprise that this is my pick of the week. It is Star Wars issue number 2, which, like I say, my pick of the week was just superb. Jason Aaron's writing here is just so spot on. He totally gets the feel of the original films as well as those original characters. He puts them in new and interesting situations while also playing off the films, and it's just, it was just awesome. The art throughout this book is brilliant. It captures, like I said, the magic, the action adventure kind of magic of the films. And if that isn't enough to convince you that this book is a pick of the week, I've got like 4. I think it's 4 words: Vader, Backles, and AT-AT. Yeah, you heard me right. We get to see Darth Vader, Backle, and AT-AT. It is just awesome. Like, it's just like an awesome thing to kind of come up with. Brilliant. I just love the book the whole through. Like I said, the dialogue is spot on. The art is tremendous. It just made me feel like a kid again. And when I was reading this, I was making all the sound effects, the lightsabers and the lasers, and when I read the characters' dialogue, I could hear the characters' voices in my head. Now, either that means that I've got serious health problems and I need to see a doctor and get some medication, or that means that this book is pick of the week, and I'm kind of going with the judgment that this book is pick of the week. I really enjoyed this. It just took me so back to my youth, and yeah, I'm at that age. Right now I love nostalgia, and this just wrapped me up in a nice white woolly blanket of nostalgia. And so yeah, Star Wars issue number 2, my pick of the week. So those are my reviews for this week. I will be back on Wednesday with a haul video. At the moment, it's looking like it's going to be a small week. I think 11 books I've got next week coming up, unless something comes out unexpected at last minute. I am thinking of going back and getting Hawkeye, though I'll probably get that before New Comic Book Day. But yeah, I'm pretty much done, I think. Yeah, I think that's everything I've got to say. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please give me those beautiful thumbs up if you liked what I've done. If you've got any comments on the books that I've reviewed, please use the comments below. Yeah, I think that pretty much leaves it. I'll see you all Wednesday. I've been Jason. This has been my comic book reviews. Bye for now.